best footballing memory is probably scoring against Peter Cech. Even though it was pre-season friendly, there was 24,000 there. So that was nice. That was sort of felt like the beginning of what was going to be something special. And it lasted for a couple of months at Reading, and then all of a sudden sort of things turned for us. We had a young squad, a few players on loan that like still play in the Premier League now, Ryan Bertrand, people like that. It was a very, very young squad, but the results weren't sort of coming, and I sort of was one of the sort of I was sacrificed for a couple of experienced players, and the results still didn't turn. But it's one of those things in football. If things had changed slightly, maybe nicked the win in one of those games, who knows what would have happened. But can't hold any regrets. I've got some great memories, so that's probably the one that sticks out most, along with probably winning the conference at 19 when I went on loan to Aldershot. The first football game I ever went to would have been to watch my old man. Used to play sort of conference style level for 20 odd years for Aylesbury United. But in terms of professional game, he took me to watch England versus France schoolboys at Wembley, and apparently I played with the seat the whole game. Was chucking money down a hole at the back of my seat. This is what I've been told by my parents. So yeah, I didn't pay much attention to the game. I think at that stage they thought I wasn't going to be a football fan, but lo and behold, I'm still loving the game 20 years later. So yeah, no, that's my first memory. Steven Gerrard was my footballing hero until one day at Reading played Liverpool and asked him to sign my book, and he carried on walking straight past me. I was gutted after that. I was about 19, 20 at the time, but if someone I looked up to, I sort of looked at his game and thought to myself, yeah, I want to try and model myself on him. But since then, I was lucky enough to work with Frank Lampard Sr. at Reading. And I spoke to him a lot about his son, obviously, Frank Lampard Jr. And I managed to speak to him when we played against Chelsea, and he was a real down-to-earth guy. Came up to me and had a chat. His dad had told me that I'd been reading his book. And he asked me a couple of questions about it during the game when a player was down injured. And for me, that will live with me forever. One of those special moments. So he's the sort of person I looked up to after that. As a kid, I was Tottenham. And then all of a sudden, I started having a bit more of a fondness for Reading as I was there for sort of 9 years. They started playing against Tottenham in the Premier League when I was there, and I was sat in the stands obviously as a squad player. I never played in the Premier League, so yeah, I started looking out for Reading results, and as soon as I left, my love for Tottenham sort of got less. But they're the sort of my boyhood team, if you know what I mean, who I followed. Stress is probably one of the main ones. A lot of people think it's plain sailing. When I was a youngster, training part of a Premier League squad, it was like getting treated like royalty. It really was. Everything was done for you. Your kit was clean. Your lunch was on the table after training. The money was good. Things like that. And the lower I've slipped down, the harder I found it to love until I've got to this level again. I think when you're playing professionally, you're playing every day, and you realise what you did have, and then what you've now got, if that makes sense. It made it more into a chore than a hobby. But now that I'm doing it less and playing at a standard that I know, hopefully I'll play week in, week out under the gaffer, it makes it a lot more enjoyable. You don't have to go through the stress of travelling up to Morecambe on a Friday night, staying in a hotel, not playing at all in the game, getting back at late hours on Sunday morning. So yeah, they're the things that sort of really bug me, because all I want to do is get out on the pitch and play football, like a youngster would say. But yeah, it's given me a good circle of friends as well. There's so many positives from football. I've obviously had my own problems off the pitch, which I've publicised, but I've got no regrets now. A few things I would have done differently, a few disappointments, but no sort of resentment towards the career I've had so far. The one thing about football, that's a difficult question. It'd probably be, and this is one of my sort of bugbears now, something completely different, and an answer you probably wouldn't expect. But the money young footballers get, something has to be done with it. For me, obviously, a lot of it's wasted and things like that. I think there's got to be things in place for the youngsters to have something to fall back on in life. There's a lot of depression going on in football after players have retired now, professional players. People like Gary Speed and that apparently was manic depressive, and yeah, there needs to be more done, I think, for people that have sort of fallen out of the game. Luckily enough, I've sort of got my head screwed on enough that I've sort of dealt with that now, but it's a massive problem, so that would be my bugbear. Oh, I know this sounds cringy as hell, but I'd have to say my old man. We haven't had a proper match where we've been out on the pitch together, do you know what I mean? I like to scream and shout at each other and have a kick about, but yeah, my old man, if not Zidane, but they look alike, so it's not too bad.